All right, it is 1 o'clock on July 5th, and we're going to go over volume profile real quick. This is my favorite indicator, and everything I do, even the TPS strategy, I use volume profile. Doesn't matter what I do. I've got a dozen different edges that I trade, but all of them revolve around volume profile. So this is going to be a very basic breakdown of volume profile. All right. And if there's any questions, just type them into chat. Oh, are you German, Weiser? Um, so what is VP? This is what we're going to cover, right? What is VP? How to set it up, common terms, examples of using VP, and then common terms that I use. Because VP wasn't taught to me. I just noticed it. I'm the kind of guy that has to figure out why things happen. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the book, how things work, the way things work, or whatever. I literally was reading that when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I just always have to figure it out what causes it, because I can figure out what causes things, then I feel like I have an advantage. Um, Budweiser, that'd be great. Um, so, what is volume profile? Again, it's boring. Gonna read the definition here. Uh, Volume profile is an advanced charting study that displays trading activity over a specific time period at specific price levels. The study accounting for user-defined parameters such as number of rows and time period, right? That's when I'm going back and forth in the chart, changing the distance between the prices that I want to look at. It plots the histogram on the chart meant to reveal dominant and or significant price levels based on volume, right? So essentially, volume profile takes the total volume traded at a specific price level during the specified time period, whatever we're looking at, and divides the total volume into either buy volume or sell volume, and then makes that information easily visible to the trader. Right? So, I don't know. It sounds complicated. I get it because I've studied it. But, for me, it's just showing me where people are, where people have bought and sold, right? That's it. I want to be playing other people, okay? And if I know what someone else's cost basis is, then I have the advantage. I know where they want to sell, right? I know where they want to buy. My fault. I didn't mean to do that. My whole purpose was playing VP is playing other people, because human psychology, I mean, as horrible as this sounds, humans don't change very often and they don't change very fast. And anybody that's married knows this. Has anybody, and put a 2 in chat if you're female and you have a husband that you've been married to for longer than 5 years? Is there any females in here that have been married for longer than 5 years to a husband? Because I don't mean to sound sexist here. I'm male. Neo, let me ask you. 42 years? Wow. Yes, yes. Okay. For all you females, just be honest. How hard is it to get your husband to actually change? 39, 50 years? Wow. Is it easy to get your husband to change? How many times have you told him to pick up his stuff after he drops it on the floor? You know what I mean? Like, wow, 37 years tomorrow, Avatar? Congrats. That's awesome. Marriage is hard. It's quite an accomplishment. Debo says impossible. You'd get along with my wife. She thinks the same thing. It's practically impossible. Never. Right? Well, why? Because humans just don't change. We get in our habits. We get comfortable. It all goes back to human psychology, right? And this is one of the reasons that I'm not afraid to share how I make money. If I thought sharing how I make money was going to change people, I would not do it. But I know that it's too hard for humans to change, right? Not my first husband. Your second one's much better at changing. Well, good. you know, and it goes both ways. My wife tries changing for me. I'm very emotionally stunted, you know, and I try to get better for her. But the basic thing here is humans just don't change, right? So if you buy and it turns into a loser, most people just want out, break even. If you bought at a certain level before and you've made money before, you're probably going to buy at that level again, right? So here, let me show you some examples. Now you can see here, right? This is the VP level that we've broken out of. And this is the breakout, right? Now we're retesting those levels, right? And so we buy, we sell. We buy, we sell. If we break down below here, what's going to happen? All these people that were buying are just going to want out break even, so they're going to sell as soon as it pops back up to here. And this is what we call the retest, right? So that's understanding the psychology of humans and why price action moves in certain ways, right? Any questions on this? It's a very simple complex concept, but it's very important to understand. Exactly, Ira. Exactly. That's why young people soak up so much knowledge and stuff. Right, Tom? Hey, it goes both ways. Okay. Now, why use technical analysis, right? So I use technical analysis with volume profile. Does everybody understand what technical analysis is? If you don't, just give me a 1 in chart if you don't know what I mean by technical analysis. Because I'm assuming everyone knows what that is. Which volume profile do I use? I just use the standard volume profile on all platforms. It'll be called volume at price or volume profile. Put a 1 in if you don't know what technical analysis is. And guys, let me just be completely blunt here with you. The reason that I am such a fast learner is because I don't care if I look dumb. I look dumb all the time. Trust me, I'll look dumb to you guys a lot. But I don't care if I look dumb because that's how I gain my information. And so if you're afraid of looking dumb, if you're like, well, everybody else understands what technical analysis is, I don't want to put it in there and look stupid, you're never going to learn. You're never going to grow. It's called having a growth mindset. So if you don't know, please put it in. Okay. All right. So we have some people. Good job. I'm proud of you. Who's the first person to put it in here? Mejinbu. Hey, Mejinbu. Good job. You have a growth mindset. I love it. So all technical analysis is it's something that was created to look at certain patterns, and they don't put anything into perspective besides patterns. And so you've got what's called here. I'm actually going to change this color. Let's change it to pink. You have something that's called an ascending triangle. So according to technical analysis, an ascending triangle is you're putting in higher lows, but you're putting in a flat top resistance level. Does this look familiar to anybody? This pattern. What is this pattern? You guys remember Nate's favorite pattern? Nate's favorite pattern is the woodpecker pattern. He loves the push up, the pull down, and then you put it into an ascending triangle. That's all it is. That's your technical analysis on it. That's it. Okay? So this is an ascending triangle. Inverted head and shoulders. Technical analysis. If it breaks the neckline, we're supposed to buy, right? Boom, boom, boom. And the flip side, right? Technical analysis. This is all these things that I was showing you earlier today, all those chart patterns, that's all technical analysis. And we can have just a technical analysis class, you know, if you guys want, just go over technical analysis. And one of the things that you guys can do that don't know what it is, all you have to do is go to Investopedia when you don't know what something is and just type it in. or just Google, you know, technical analysis Investopedia or volume profile Investopedia, and it'll pull up. It's a good Investopedia is a good spot to get some summarizations of terms and philosophy, terms and common use words. All right, so now I use chart patterns, which is technical analysis, right, with VP, and it works across all time frames. Okay, I'll give you a live example of how this works after this. Okay, but one of the things to remember is the longer the time frame, the more volume people have traded within that area, which means it's stronger support and resistance levels. If we look at a 1 minute chart for today, you're going to see support and resistance lines for today. Sorry, my voice cracked. I'm still going through puberty, obviously. But after that breaks, you're going to look at a longer time frame, and you're going to find bigger support and resistance levels. Okay. Eagle Eyes, I did. I reported the morning session. Okay. So here, let's look. So this is just different platforms, but it's the same idea. Okay, right here. I don't care what you're using, volume profile or volume at price. I use TC2000. I gave Nate the setup for TC2000, so I think a lot of you guys use TC2000, and it's just called volume at price. All you do is you just right click on the chart, you click add plot, search for volume at price, and it's going to put it in there. You know, on E-Trade, I use E-Trade. I use a bunch of other ones, but you just go to studies and you go to volume profile, and boom, it'll be right on your chart. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on how to get volume profile on your chart? Yeah. Z Yato, 100%. 100%. Eagle Eyes, remind me, ask me that question after this one, and we'll go over kind of what I'm going to do for you guys. Okay, no questions on how to set up. What about in TOS? Okay, I don't use TOS. Nate, are you in the room? I know Nate uses TOS. And I think Nate has a YouTube video. I don't know if he's in here. So wherever you go to add studies, like however you add, how do you add a 30, or how do you add the ADMA, you know, or the 50 moving average? How do you add moving averages to your charts on TOS? If you, okay, Nate G is here. Nate, do you have a thing on how to get TOS VP set up? You just go to studies. Okay. Yeah, so Nate can show you guys on TOS, like when I'm done and I get off, he can actually screen share it with you too if you can't figure it out. But I don't use TOS. So he will, it's volume profile on TOS. Okay, perfect. All right. So these are just some different charts with some different volume profiles, right? This is E-Trade's volume profile. You notice there's no colors in here, but you'll notice there's colors on my TC2000 over here, right? You know, and to me, honestly, I don't care about the buy or the sells. There are people there. It doesn't matter, right? And then you've got some charts that break it out throughout the day that look like this. And these can be very helpful, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that it would look like, but all the ideas and philosophy is the same, okay? So here's your VP levels. All right. I've already going to share the grid today. MLS, you want to look at the SPY real quick? Yeah, I think I can do that. I don't think anybody will mind in here. Let's break it out. Look at the SPY. You like to trade the SPY? So here, as soon as I look at this, the only thing that I really care about that's most important are these 3 days, 1, 2, and 3. So let's just break down the last 3 days of the SPY, because you break below these people and you're going down, right? So here we are, and here is your main level of volume profile. Boom. Obviously, everybody can see that, right? It's the longest line on the chart by far. Now, where's your next level of resistance? Well, right here. And guess what? That's where I told you guys I was buying this gap down, but I was playing the cues. And well, gap closed right on resistance, and that's where you sell, right? Now, this is an example today. Here, let me jump to the this. I'm looking at today's on a 2 minute here. So do you guys see how this level held on the first hit? So if you bought that first support and sold up here at this resistance, again, how I do it, let's just say you buy 1K shares, buy 1K here, sell 500 here, trail stop the rest of them. I would have been trail stopped out those 500 as we went down, but you still made money, right? And remember, first hit, second hit, down we go, right? Now we're breaking back above it. And so to me, what this spells out is chop. We're chopping. That's all we're doing today. We're just choppity chop, 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 right? Breaking above levels, breaking below levels, breaking above levels. And part of the reason that is because of the volume created yesterday. It was very low volume. And we're the reason I want this week to get over with is so that we can get back into normal trading. And so it can be a lot choppier when the volumes aren't quote unquote normal. However, what I'll tell you is on the SPY, we're breaking above. This is a great level to try to buy it off of if you think we're going to finish bullish today. I mean, it's the same idea. You've got a chart pattern here. Boom, 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 neckline, right? You've got a lot of room that we can come up here. And you've got a great risk reward profile, right? Do not let this, if I was going to buy here, where would I say stop out, right? You always want to do the lower side. So for me, the stop out would be right here. I don't want this going below 44.13. So you can risk 25 cents to capture 75 cents. Great. There's your trade. Easy. Right? That's it. So there's your trade volume profile using today's live example of the SPY. And to be honest with you, if this goes red, it doesn't mean we did a bad trade. And if it goes green and we make money, like none of that means anything. Results come because you're doing things correctly. The only thing that matters is that you're reading the chart correctly and you're doing your risk profile correctly. All right, I hope that answers your question on the SPY. So John B, what was the range? So on this chart, what I do, I want to zoom in as close as I can on the people that I'm looking at, which is the past 3 days. So I started at 2 minutes and I can see 2 minutes. Then I did 1 minute and I can see 1 minute. So that means I'm going to use a 1 minute chart to find these people, right? So this is a 1 minute chart. So I can do this all on a 1 minute chart and see the previous 3 days, right? Okay. Now let's get back to the volume profile lesson. All right, so these are common terms right here. So a lot of people will put in what's called an HVN. It's called a high value node. And it's areas of high volume or longer bars. Areas of lower volume are LVN. Okay? Low volume nodes, right? Low volume, high volume. Now, how many times have you guys heard Nate use POC? POC is the highest volume node. It's the point of control. Okay? Now, do you guys remember why I said, hey, you always got to put in a range of absorption? Well, this is where this comes from. You've got value area high and value area low right here, okay? And let me erase these. This is the highest price level in that volume area, and then the lowest price level in that volume area. And so what it'll look like is you'll have, you know, bars that come out like this, and this is going to be your point of control, this area here. And this is your volume, your total volume area right here, right? All of this area. And then when you get above this area, you've got range to your next volume area, or range to the downside if you get below. Okay? And then gaps are the space in between the HVNs, or the high volume nodes. Okay. Any questions on these? Okay, Poor Boy says, D-Man, sorry if this has already been asked. Hey, asked 1,000 times. Great, I'm glad that you asked. Shows your growth mindset. Why does the stock seem to go up above the POC where the volume is less? Thin zone. Okay. Poor Boy, have you ever studied auction theory? We're just going to do a practice right now. Okay. Nobody look anything up on Google, please. This is for practice. I'm going to sell you, I've got for sale a brand new Model S Tesla loaded to the teeth, and I'm going to sell it for 50 grand. Put a 1 in if you're going to buy that. Are you going to buy it? Who's going to buy it? I'm at an auction. Loaded Tesla. Loaded to the teeth. 50 grand. Model S. I don't know. Anybody? Anybody going to buy it? Put a 1 in chat if you want to buy it. Nobody. Nobody wants to buy it. So what do I have to do, Poor Boy? If I want to sell this to the teeth Model S or whatever it is that I'm buying, what do I got to do? I got to lower the price. What if I sold it at 25 grand? Would you guys buy it then? I would, because I know I could flip it and make more money, right? Is my chat not going? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My chat was, sometimes the chat doesn't move and I got to fix it. So, all right, you had a lot of people. I'm sorry. I'll take 5. Okay. Sorry, I was missing the chat. So, now you've got a lot of people willing to buy here, right, Poor Boy? Well, shoot, that means my next one I'm going to sell for, okay, let's say I sold 5 of them for that price. Well, now I'm moving it up to 100 grand. Put a 2 in if you're going to buy it at 100 grand. How many of you would buy it at 100 grand? Anybody buy it for 100 grand? And so what's going to happen here, Poor Boy, is you're going to have less buyers, right? So you got a couple people that are willing to buy it, right? But less, right? Now, what if I did it, since I only got a couple people to buy it? What if I brought it at 75 grand? How many of you would do it at 75 grand? Put in 3 if you put it at 75 grand. And so what I want to do here is, let's just go check out. What did I say? Did I say Model X or Model S or Model 3? I don't even remember what I said. We'll just say Model S. All right, order now. Let's see how much they cost. All right, so just the base model is 88. The fully loaded is $108,000. So All you people that wouldn't buy it at 50, what are you thinking right now? Man, I should have got it at 50. Dang it. It was all the way down to 50. I could have made 50 grand. I could have flipped it like that. Right? And so what happens, poor boy, is people start to get a better understanding of whatever it is that they're trading, whatever stock it is. And so you get these. Here, let me close this out. So for our volume profile on that Tesla, let's put this at 100K, right? And this would be 50K. Our volume profile would look like this. We've got a couple of buyers here. We had a few buyers here at 75. But man, we had a lot here, right? And so let's say I come up now and I say 25K. How many are going to buy at 25K now that you have all this information? I'm selling it for 25K, right? You're going to have a lot of people willing to buy that. And I'm going to realize that, and so I'm going to jack the price up, and we're going to get to where this was. But see, people still understand that it's worth more than this 50K. And so they're going to still buy it. And that's what creates price action going above that biggest bar. Does that make sense, poor boy? I don't know if this was the greatest example, but it's people are slowly starting to get the hang of, or the understanding of, there's value here, and I'm willing to pay a higher value than the point of control. That's it. That's all that's happening. People are understanding and willing to pay a higher price because they've gained knowledge of something. And if news hits where Model S's? Model S start exploding and it's catching on fire, guess what? It's going to drop to the next. It's going to go below that value area at 50K and go even lower, right? Okay, hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, let me skip over to. So the way that most people use volume profile and volume range, VPVR, right? Typical use of VP is it usually comes back to the point of control. When you go under, it likes to pull back up. When you go above, it likes to pull back down. And an example of that is, there's your point of control, that big red line, right? Well, what happened? We went under, we came back. Now we went above, and now we're coming back down, right? That's how most people like to use it. I don't use it this way, okay? I use it to play ranges in between them. So I will buy off of the lower value range, right? So the lower value range here is about right here. I'm willing to buy it to try to take it up to that level, but I'm a seller at this level. And then once it breaks above, I'm a buyer as it retests. And then I'll buy it here to take it up to the next level, which is here, and I'm a seller here. And so I just continually use different time frames and different points of control to play over and under. That's it. I play from one level to the next level, and then once it gets to that next level, it's over under until it creates a new VP level. So here, let's just hypothetically say it traded right here in this range for 5 days. Well, this VP is going to stick out much further, and then that's going to become your point of control, right? So they will create new points of control. That's how I trade it, okay? Yeah, forward, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Grant. Exactly. $17 for a freaking beer and $5 for water. Exactly. See you, Cal H. Yeah, on toss, you're going to look for volume profile, okay? So Andrea says, hey, which time frame do you use for point of control as a strong indicator? Again, I'm going to say this 1,000 times. I get this question 1,000 times, and I want you to keep asking it 1,000 times because eventually it's going to get into everybody's head. I don't care about the time frame. All I care about is the people. So we were talking about the SPY earlier. For right now, the day trade, who do I really care about? The people back here that were trading the SPY back in January to April of 2022? Not really. I'm not really caring about that right now because I'm just trying to do a quick little day trade. Now, if I'm swinging it, then yeah, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at these people to see where the resistance levels are. But for me, only thing I care about is these 3 days. And you could look at these two days where they was wicked up, but these are your main people. And this is why everybody's kind of bearish right now. We're kind of double topping. We need to pull back. We need to fill this gap, right? And maybe we get a cup and handle blast off, right? And what technical analysis level would that be called? You know, cup and handle, ascending triangle, right? But the only thing that matters to me for this day trade are these 3 people. And so I zoom in as close as I can to get the best time frame I can look at. And I've got 3 days in my graph here. And now I can look at the volume profile levels. So something else that I'll tell you guys is this is something I call upside down volume profile. Do you see how it's kind of slanted upside down? You need more volume down here to balance out these people. There's just more people that are up here that are underwater than there are people down here. And so we need some consolidation and down below to balance it out. Think of it as like the justice scale. Just the amount of people that are here, it's just too much. So even if we do start breaking up, we're probably going to get rejected until we create longer VPs down here to create better support. Right? That's why I hope we just kind of chop around this week, get some legs, and allows us to break through. Does that answer your question, Andrea? Andrea, never apologize for questions. I love it. I don't care if you ask that same question right now again. I'll answer it again. Don't ever apologize for asking questions. That shows that you want to learn. So the gaps. What about the gaps? It's a great question. So the gaps, there's nothing there. That's why it's so easy to fill these gaps. So here, let's look at a chart and say, what is the level that's like OSHIT? Everybody's in trouble, right? So you've got here and here. These are your main levels. You know, if we push down to 441 and we start breaking underneath these people, you're going to start getting into this gap. The technical level, right? Technical uses candlesticks. The technical break level is 441, 2012. But for me, if we start breaking below this 442, 25 level, we're in trouble. You know, it's gonna need to wash out some people and see how low we go till we start finding demand. And so if we get into that gap, well, what's that mean? Well, I'm not buying. I'm not going to try to buy anywhere in this gap. I don't care what happens. I'm not trying to buy anywhere in this gap. I'm going to try to buy here at this gap fill. Now, let's pretend the price action comes down to here and then comes back up into here and starts doing this. I'm willing to buy now because this is a breakdown and a reclaim. And it's showing that it wants to hold support, right? But I'm not buying in this gap area. You got to prove to me that you're going to reclaim before I start buying. Does that make sense? So that's the gaps. All right. Whoops. Now, the red and green portions of the VP bars, Kurt, wait, who has that? I'm sorry. Hilltop. The red and green portions, they don't mean anything. Don't even worry about it being red or green. All it's doing is showing you that what was hit on the bid and what was hit on the ask. That's all it's showing you. But just know that there's always, for every buyer, there's a seller. For every seller, there's a buyer. So like on E-Trade, it doesn't even show you any colors. It's just a flat bar. So that doesn't matter. Okay. Kurt says, who sets the point of control and are they always listed on charts? So on TC2000, it doesn't do it, but on TOS, it'll automatically draw for you the point of control for whatever time frame you put in. So in TOS, you got to put in a specific time frame that you want to look at on your chart, and then it'll automatically draw the volume area range And all it does, it's a mathematical equation where it takes 70% of the volume traded within that range, and that's your volume range. And then it sets your point of control automatically for you by wherever the most volume was traded. So it'll automatically do that stuff for you on toss and a lot of other things. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, so correct term, you're going to hear high volume node, HVM. For me, I call these pivot points. Low volume nodes, I call them minor pivot points. Value area high, I call that like the last resistance. I'll say, guys, if we get over these guys, we're going. And here, I'll show you an example of that. I've been in this meta trade forever. I've been buying and selling and buying and selling, and I'm like, we're going to hit 300. We just got to be patient. And let me show you. Okay. I'm going to take out today. Look at this chart. Can anybody tell me where the last area is? The last area, guys, we need to get over this and we're going to shoot to 300. If we can just break this level and go, we're going to get to 300. Can anybody tell me where it is? Right? It's not hard to see because it's right here. You see this? This is where the majority of the volume, and now let's zoom in and see if we can get any better detail on just the upper area. Yeah, look at this. So look, if we can start breaking over this guy and then break over this guy, we just need to break up and away from this. If we can get a break up and away from this, we're golden, right? And guys, it's been an emotional roller coaster for me, right? It's like, here we go, no. 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 Right? It just hasn't broke up and away. Here we go, no. So I've been very frustrated, but happy at the same time because I'm making money. I'm buying dips, selling rips. That's what I do. Buy support, sell resistance. But guess what we did today? Here we go, baby. Right? We got the move. I've been so patiently waiting on. We almost hit 300, right? 298. I got some sales off, right? Taking some profits into this. I'm holding some because I think we can hit 300. I actually think the high end of this for me is 320. Now, the important thing to understand about this is now that we finally broke, you need to think of the flip side. What happens, guys? What happens if we consolidate up here all day? And maybe all week. Let's just say we consolidate up here all week. And then, so this is what the chart would look like. Well, what happens if we break back down below here? What does that mean? You remember what I told you about a failed breakdown? This is the exact same thing, except it's the flip side. When you get these failed breakouts, look out. Because you sucked in all these buyers that were waiting for this level to be broken. And it finally broke. And then they just get trapped. And they're like, oh my gosh. So now not only do you have all these people stopping out, but you're going to have all these people that are trying to dip buy, they're going to be stopping out because the sell pressure is just too much. And oftentimes when you get a failed breakout, you also break down the next level. So if this breaks out, look out. It's going to make out for a good short. Does that make sense? And as a trader, you always need to be thinking every single direction, what every single trader is thinking, the longs, the shorts. And so if this breaks down, you're going to get shorts piling on top. Okay? So, but that's an area where it's like, if you break above this top level, off we go. And we got it. So that was your last resistance. Same thing on last support. So here, let me show you a good example of last support. Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember because I don't put my trades into chat. I'm sorry, into the trade alert tab. I just put them into chat. Let me show you what Google looked like. You remember when Google was like, Nate was getting in Google, he was sizing in, he's slowly sizing in, and you guys are like, oh, I'm underwater, I'm under. Everybody's freaking out. What was I doing? I didn't care. I don't care what the chart is doing because I've got my plan. And guess what? Guess where my last volume area low was? And I said, this is when it's not going to work. This is when it's like, look out below because we are about to go and fill this gap. So you guys tell me. I'm going to bring it back to what we were looking at. Okay, just looking at this chart, you guys tell me where I should draw my value area low for a swing in Google. Can you guys tell me? Here, I'll give you some options. Should my value area low be here at 1? Here, let me make these smaller. Be here at 1, be here at 2, be here at 3, be here at 4, or be here at 5? You guys put in chat, which one do you think is the right answer? For, again, the value area low here is like your last ditch effort to support it, because if you break it, everybody's out, right? Everybody's going to be freaking out. Everybody's going to be selling, and the stock's just going to go down. So I'm on a 10-minute chart right now. And again, ARTB, the important thing to understand is time frames do not matter. The only thing that matters is who you're playing. I can be looking at a day chart. I can be looking at a 1-minute chart. The only thing that matters is who you're playing. Three, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3. Okay, good. A lot of you guys are really starting to get it. It's 3, and the reason it's 3 is because, do you see this volume area, right? So for me, I actually want to zoom in a little bit closer to these guys. So this is from the 11th to the 16th, the dates. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit closer on the 11th to the 16th so I can see and make sure my areas are as accurate as they can be. So now all I'm doing, again, it doesn't matter the time frame. I just want to look at this area, and it looks like, for me, yeah, you're talking right here, 116.37-ish, right? Now, what happened was Google started pulling, and I put into chat, I said, guys, this is the best risk reward scenario for Google that you can ask for. Do you see right here? You see how powerful VP can be? I said, guys, I'm buying Google 116, 50-ish level. Great risk reward. If it breaks down, I'm going to stop out and I'll reset after it comes into this gap, into this area below. So this is the last ditch effort, the volume area low that I'm willing to buy. And a key component to remember about this is where you need to have your risk profile. So hypothetically, you want to buy 1,000 shares. You don't buy 1,000 shares and risk. You don't buy 1,000 shares at 125 and risk down to 116. But if you want to buy at 125, I buy 100. Right, 10%, and then buy another 100 at 122.50, and then another 100 at 121, and then another 100 here. And as we're going lower, it's like, okay, now we're getting to my risk level. So I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 500 now. So as we hit 118, maybe I'm gonna buy 250 or 200. And then as we hit 116.37, I'm buying my biggest piece here because that's my best risk reward scenario. And off we go. Right? And you can see what's happened. Here's the key important thing. Looking at this chart just right here, you guys tell me where should be your profit target area, right? Because this is what you need to know. If I'm buying it here at 116 and I'm risking, let's just say $1 or 50 cents, whatever you want to say your stop out is right there. For me, I'm trying to take it back to at first here. Right? Remember the value areas? This is a value area, and this is a value area. And the air is in between. There's not much VP here. So I'm trying to buy here within this range and take it back to here. And after it hits this point and starts to reject and form, maybe I get into a TTM squeeze, I can buy a Nate Bear special and take it higher. But until it breaks the back above and then retests, right, this is resistance. So let's go back and look at what's happened. Oh, look, it's amazing. VP's magic. We hit 122.16 and now we're rejecting, right? So for me, I captured 6 points off this move. So again, if I bought that 1,000 shares, and my average would have been about right here, because I bought, again, that's even buying the example that I showed you, started buying at 125. Well, now I'm going to sell 500 right here. And so my cost basis goes, let's say it's a 118 average, and I sold at 122. So now my cost basis, I've just profited $4. So now my cost basis is all the way down here at 114. So now I can hold this Google. I have no worries at all. Google, let's go to 150, right? And I'll add on the way up and it'll adjust. But this is an example of how I use VP levels, playing in between ranges. And once we get up into this range up here and we start retesting here, I'll start using more of this VP and I'll get a detailed breakout of this level right here. Okay. All right. I think that's. Paula says, how do you convert it into an option? There's a bunch of different ways to do it, Paula. You can put in what's called conditional orders to say, hey, if Google, like literally there's something that's on your whatever program you use, I don't care if it's Toss, I don't care, whatever you have, Schwab, E-Trade, it doesn't matter. They're going to have things where you can put in conditional orders, and you can put in things like that says, when this condition is met, do this. And so you could say, all right, when the condition is met of Google hitting, let's just say we put it in at 116.50. What I want you to do is I want you to put in an order to buy a Google option for July 21st, August 18th, wherever you want to play your option. And I want to buy how many ever you want, 1, 5, 10. I don't know what you trade. But you can literally have the computer automatically do it for you. Or you can just set an alert, and then when it hits, you can go in and look at the options and buy it there. Now, when you're playing options on Google, NVIDIA, and stuff like that, buying market isn't going to hurt you a lot. But if you buy market orders on options on others, you can really get hurt, like $250 per contract. If you buy 10, you're going to be automatically down $250 per, so $2,500. So you can change those. Instead of buying market, you can put it at the bid. You can put it at 5 cents above the bid. But that's how you turn it into an option, and then you just sell it when it comes up here. So you can put in there the same thing. When Google hits, let's just say 121.95, right below 122. I want to sell my option at ask or bid or whatever. So that's how you would change it into an option, Paula. So does this all make sense? Because guys, if you can get this down, oh my gosh. Like, this is all I do, okay? Now, the other thing that I want to go over here is just the terms that I use. I use point of control, but I also call it your main support and resistance level. And I'll say that you need to increase VP level. So do you remember how I showed you on the SPY? And I'm like, you've got this upside down like VP, and it's just, we need to chew, we need to shuffle, we need to get some legs. And all you're trying to do is make these VP levels grow out so that they start to outweigh the upper ones. And instead of having the slanted angle that way, you'll have a slanted angle that way, because this is how you want the VP. And then once you break over that, it's like off we go, right? Now, under point of control, over point of control, what I'll tell you guys is there's trapped longs and there's trapped shorts, right? And so let's say your point of control is here and you're underneath it. Well, you're trapped longs because people are long and they're miserable when the shorts are happy, and vice versa to the upside. The yellow would be trapped shorts because they were shorting against this level to hold, and it went above and they're not happy, but the longs are, right? And you need to pay attention to who's trapped. Okay, trapped means they're red on the tray. That's all it means. They're red on their tray. Okay. All right. I think we've pretty much gone through most of it here. Let's see. Here's an example, right? Do you see this slant here? We don't want that. We want, I call this the upside down L. We want this to be flipped. We want the main VP to be down here thick and then the upper to be smaller so that we can easily get through it. Okay. Here's another upside down L. Okay. That's it. That's it for the slides. Okay. Donna, honestly, the way to know how it takes a while to understand this. It's the amount of volume that is above and below you. That's the straight answer, and that probably means nothing to you. But there's a book called Ann Couling's. What's Ann Couling's book that I've been telling you guys? Volume at price, volume profile analysis. I don't remember, but the last terminology chart. Yeah, let's go. Let's bring that up here. Is this the one you're talking about? Ira, yeah. Ira, I think I do other things outside of here, and I don't want to crisscross the two. You know what I mean? Like I want to. I want to keep these separate. It's the best way I can put it, and I'm trying to find out the best way to do that with Nate, and so I just want to be very careful about how we do this. So what I'm going to do here is I've recorded these, and I can put them on YouTube with Nate, or I can put them on my Dropbox and send you guys the links, or post them. There's a million different ways we could do it, but I want to be very careful about. Yeah, volume price analysis. Thank you, Gregor. And again, I've got that book on PDF. I can send it to you for free. Just email me and I'll send it to you. And the one thing I will tell you that I do is on Twitter. Sometimes I'll put information out on Twitter. I don't care if you follow me on Twitter, but besides that, like I don't want to put anything else out there. Okay. Any questions about what we went over, guys? This is a lot, and you should watch it a number of times because you'll learn something every time. Twitter handle here. It's just at Furu Killer is what it is. But yeah, it's recorded, Swan. Here, let me stop the recording. If there's no questions, I'm going to stop the recording. Nate G, are you in the room? Right, Anthony? It's a lot. It's a lot.